Welcome back, everyone, to Sanity Lost, the episode where we ask questions, and there's probably lots of questions. So, without further ado, I need to turn on the screen share.
Screen share?
Well, that's what you have to hit.
Oh.
And then you got to go to Advanced, and then you click Computer Audio, you click Share, and now, without further ado...
I thought we were going to see, like, behind the screen or something. You were going to show us stuff.
Oh, we can see behind the screen. It's right there, the camera.
What's behind me?
Exactly.
Only people
listeners
who are actually watching this will enjoy that. Yeah.
And if you're only listening to it, well, you should watch it too.
I was going to say, just for this part.
Boost my numbers. So
I don't know. I feel like any questions that I have, you're just not going to answer. I don't know how to engage with this one.
Well, want me just to let, if anyone just started in chapter 5, and you're wondering what this episode is, pretty much, we get a little Q&A time because everyone wanted between, I think it was after chapter 1, wanted to be, let's ask questions. And
let's see what kind of additional info we can dig out of the Keeper.
Exactly. Where I think if there's a season 2, that's not happening.
Listen, we don't use this in our gameplay. We're not those type of metagamers.
I think I want to save it for, well, what the thoughts for season 2 is not going to be set up like this. So I think,
yeah, sure.
I think they will be, but it won't be as frequent because of just kind of the thoughts that are percolating in my brain. But anyway,
he's making coffee with his brain.
Yes, it smells gross.
That's right, you don't like coffee.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of things.
I know.
I do
That's
like
okay, it's more
torturing
for
my
us.
friends.
It's true.
Yep. So, but yeah, well, go ahead. The microphone is yours to ask questions that I may or may not answer.
So
yeah,
I guess my first thought is, were there
I don't want to answer that one.
Were there any other mechanics to the using Theodore's word, the pets, that we didn't get a chance to really discover as part of the process before Theodore showed up?
A Nite question. Like, let's be honest, in actual gameplay, he just wanted to stay there all night and explore these things. That's all he wanted to do. That is
they were the biggest threat, so
that's all he wanted to do until they hit back, and then he's like, I don't want to play anymore.
Well, it's like, okay, these are more of a threat than expected, so
I think the safest thing to say is what you guys figured out. It was a puzzle, and you guys figured out how to work around it. And so, it's, now, will these creatures come back? Yes, but when? But,
so, are these kind of like, and you may... Yeah. Are these creatures defeatable, or are they more like managed creatures?
I mean, Theodore did something to him.
I know, but it's Theodore. Theodore can do anything, apparently, so leave him out of it.
That's because it's me now.
Yeah.
I think the best way to answer this is with the knowledge that you have now, you haven't discovered a way, but you also only tried one way to face them. And it was a lot. The experimentation with these creatures was in, like, the space that you were in did not allow a lot of experimentation. So
the initial experimentation turning sour also left a lot less options for further experimentation in anything remotely resembling a safe manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David wanted to find out what they were, not die to them.
Not get sucked dry. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, it was interesting to me, Dave, to hear you insinuate a little bit in the last session that, like, things could have gone differently, because I think as a player...
I think it was before we recorded. I think
oh,
I said
okay.
that,
Well,
but...
there you go, listeners.
Or it might have been right at the beginning. I don't know. I don't listen to myself when I talk.
I know. I felt playing it that there weren't a lot of choices, that there were a few key ones. Like, I'll name the ones that felt like key to me, right? Like staying overnight versus leaving, and like actually going down the green stairs into the circus tent or not. Like, those felt like the two significant choices. And as a player, well, interesting, like as a player, the choice to stay rather than go, I think was true to my character, but I don't think was true to John's character. Like, I think John's character would have absolutely left. I think he got pressured into staying.
He also didn't have the car keys.
Yeah.
I think between David and Deli, he wasn't really given the opportunity to try to get us to really leave.
Leave, yeah.
Sure.
But yeah,
I thought it
so
told an interesting story though for him.
I know, if he had left us there, oh my gosh.
Well, he didn't have the option because you guys took the keys. But...
I know, that's what I'm saying, but if he had. But yeah, so I guess I don't know how much you would even want to share, but hearing you like say that, of like maybe putting words in your mouth of feeling like surprised by the choices that we made, or that we kind of put ourselves on a certain trajectory. I'm just curious if there were other key moments where we could have made different choices, even if you don't tell us what those choices are. I'm just curious, like, what were these key story points that would have really changed the trajectory of like how we played that chapter?
Well, the big one, but I won't obviously say why, is going down the stairs.
Yeah, and I think you're crazy if you think any of us would have. Well, maybe not, because John decided he wanted to do that, so maybe
Yeah,
we're not
Dice
so
decided
crazy.
John wanted to.
I wanted
I was
to
gonna
know
say-
what was down the stairs.
I was gonna say, to be fair, I don't think John really had a conscious choice in going down the stairs. I think that was more the panic and insanity side of it that was more at play, and I feel like that played very true to the way I feel like August sits as well. Like,
Yeah,
like,
for
okay,
sure.
way out. Oh, I guess this is a way out.
Right.
Yeah, just instinct. Yeah.
And I was like, and as a bonus, we can find out what cool thing is down there.
Cool
and
thing.
totally good for us thing.
Yeah, the blob. And the eternal network of circus tents that we're never coming back from.
Listen, Percy drives a clown car and he needs clowns to fill it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the dice rolling in our favor, because let's be honest, Deli would have been going in there whether she really wanted to or not. So I think I might have lost my character
Hey,
if those
you,
dice
you
had rolled
owed me
differently.
for making me stay, so.
Had they gone any further down the stairs, David was about to be spending sanity to pin you to the floor,
To the ground,
so you couldn't
yeah.
go any further.
All while sitting at the top. No, stop. Don't go any farther.
I do think it's very funny, Nite, how you played David, because like August and Deli are losing their freaking minds, and I think I played my character pretty emotionally, which is like different. Like, I felt like Cora would get emotional, but was like also fairly like thoughtful, and like I really felt like you played David like just so like he's thinking about everything, he's logical about everything, he's researching everything, and I just imagined like Deli and August are like running around like nuts while David's like, So what are these things that we're looking at? Like, I just thought that was so funny.
So, and I think part of that is just the background that I kind of built for David is very much the private eye, private investigator, had many years of experience with the family in Centralia and learning about some of these things and seeing firsthand some of these things that have happened. And so seeing weird stuff is not as much surprise to David. Experiencing it firsthand is new, but it's not as much surprise, and that kind of lends more towards him falling back on, I've experienced this, I'm going to just rely on what I know, what I've learned through training, how the investigation side, the just observing and experiment and that side of it, just that's really how I had kind of envisioned David going, is that path, and played more of a protector, some level of protector role in there as well, but that I hadn't really seen specifically in David, but it still feels right for it to be there.
Yeah,
Just
I mean, I
not,
think
it's just not as surface as it was for Caleb.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say it's almost like this trickle down of like how these experiences and even just like who your parent was, right? Like kind of showing up, but in a different way because it's a different person. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, David's definitely, it's like the idea of leaving someone behind is not something that he is willing to do. And, but at the same time, the idea of chasing down the stairs also doesn't make sense to him, because it's okay, if there's something about the way these stairs work that means that you can't get back out without help, then somebody has to be outside to get you back out. And while stopping August from proceeding further was obviously a high point, and is kind of in that moment just about to pin August to the floor so you could actually control him.
Yeah.
Like, okay, August, you're going to stop one way or another. If I have to pin you to the floor, then...
Yeah.
And I'm sure that would not have made August very happy at all to all of a sudden not be able to move at all, but at the same time...
I think it would have been really interesting, because I know John was saying with August, especially when Deli pretty much tackled him, that he was like, I just left because I felt like I had no decision and I was trapped, and now I'm physically being trapped by something, and then he finally breaks free and then is literally supernaturally trapped.
Right.
I know it would not have been good for August either, but at the same time, not wanting them to go any further down these stairs that Theodore has just said we're not prepared for.
Yeah.
Because Theodore did just tell David that no, you're not ready for those. So they need to come out the way they went in.
Yeah. So, was that the only kind of key story point?
Yeah.
So did you have an entire story planned if we had gone down the steps? So fun. I mean, obviously you had to, because we could have just gone down the steps, but that is very fun. I think I just assumed if we went down the steps, we were going to die, because that's what happens. When you go to the circus, you never come back. So, as a player, I'm like, no, I'm not going to the circus. That's crazy. Why are we going to the circus? No.
I think if Theodore had implied that going down the stairs was safe, then that might have been a slightly different answer. But at the same time, I don't think David has enough trust in Theodore yet to take something like that as being like, okay, it's perfectly fine, go down the stairs, and take that at face value, because nothing about that seemed safe or something that would be advisable in David's mind either.
I mean, I personally felt validated when, I mean, I didn't hear it as Deli, but as Elizabeth, when Theodore told David that we were not like ready to go down there. I was like, yes, all right, we made the right choice. We should not go into the circus.
I mean, I was not surprised at all to hear that, really, besides just actually Theodore actually saying that. I did very much enjoy having a longer conversation with Theodore.
I know! It was nice to finally, like... Actually, is that the first, like...
No, you guys had a pretty decent conversation. You had a pretty decent conversation the first time you met him.
Oh, I guess that's true in the street. Yeah. Yeah. Also I'm curious. Yeah. I feel like this encounter with him may have given a little more clues into his kind of like which way he leans in terms of like friend or foe. But he's just so creepy that I can't, even him saying like I want to be friends, I don't know. Deli's curious though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about the fact that he knows the Lockhart's uncle?
Uncle? Actually,
I didn't even know we had an uncle.
Who is my uncle? Yeah.
I know.
Hey, that's what happens when you guys don't give me any information on your characters. I just make things up. So...
I guess we have a famous uncle now.
That's fine.
I never said famous.
Well...
He just knows your uncle.
Does he have a name?
Not now.
His name is Uncle Lockhart. Clearly, Uncle Lockhart.
That would be buck wild if
that
it was
would be
Uncle Buster.
Insane if our uncle was Uncle Buster.
Oh,
that would
how
be crazy.
funny it would be if the Lockharts go to Centralia for some reason and just die.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we just like walk in and like... Oh, that would be crazy.
David's riding in the back of the car as Deli drives into town, and they just vaporize, and the car
all
just like...
over.
Yeah. Well, like David's just looking out the window. We have the folk music playing. He's like, "Oh, that's the store my mom used to run." Oh, okay. Oh, no, yeah, I got the characters mixed up. Just like, oh, that's where Aunt Cora worked, and that's where the school is. Why are we going in the ditch? Oh, that's the landfill. That's on fire. Oh my gosh, they're dead.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact wording of the agreement that was made, but was it that they just die or they disappear? Or they
I don't remember
vaporize
either.
or something?
Yeah, it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah. Some terrible death, essentially, right? Like, yeah, that's all we need to know. Yeah. I think this one felt, I really enjoyed how I feel like this chapter balanced and or blended like character development, because we are, you know, creating these new characters and this new team with some of that like quicker pace that we had been playing towards the end of last chapter, or even just the whole last chapter. Like, I appreciated the pace. I feel like it in some ways like gave fewer opportunities for these like long drawn out like investigations, which is usually where my questions come in. So that being said, I feel like I had fewer questions. I guess one of the things that, you know, you may or may not answer, when we were initially so we missed all of these other buildings because so much was happening in this one. Was there anything interesting in the ones that we didn't go and explore?
No, you pretty much there was just random hodgepodge stuff in there. The one that the majority of the events happen in. Like, pretty much all the other rooms and buildings was just supposed to set a sense of unease which is why the radio played without it being plugged in.
Yeah.
Which was just kind of a vehicle for you to look over, and there's people looking at us in the other room, in the other building. So it's it was pretty much just setting the stage for unease, and you guys just kind of wandered into, because you saw the writing on the one, and then that's when David found the wolf tracks, and then decided to take some photographic nature shots instead of investigating.
I mean, that's part of the PI side of things. Got to take pictures of cool stuff. Got to satisfy that artistic hobby.
So
you can't not have fun on these, dangerous, life-threatening adventures.
So one of David's skills is photography. So I mean, it made sense to do nature photography when there's kind of like a cool picturesque scene with it.
Yeah.
Kind of this desolation scene.
Yep. Yeah. So I feel like for me, I didn't walk away with a ton of questions, I don't think. Yeah, John, did you have any? Usually you have one.
I think we already kind of talked about going down the stairs. I think just knowing what was down there was my main curiosity.
You know what's interesting is with the way that played out, I guess we never really determined if you even saw anything. You went down the stairs, but I don't know.
Was there just a door at the bottom? I forget, what was that like?
Tent flaps.
You guys just saw the tent flaps.
Okay.
You guys never really made it past there.
Yeah, no, we did not.
To it. So.
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of the way I see that scene going as well, though, is like that panic level is not going to lead towards any strong observation. Panic clouds vision.
It would be like a passing notice of I don't think he would have, even if he registered what was down there, or there was an entryway. I mean, the whole situation with the stairs was so weird anyway. I don't know that he would have been like, oh, hey, there's tent flaps down there.
Right. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
We're already way past weird.
Yeah. Just a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, Deli saw it and can speak to it, and I think she had enough previous knowledge, at least, about some of these culty connections that she could draw some conclusions. So, I
guess other question I had, if August had gotten his way and they had left when he had wanted to, would that have clearly would have changed things? Would you have allowed that to happen, or would
Yeah, and that would have been the end of the chapter.
Okay.
I suspect that we probably would not get as favorable of reception back at headquarters had we left early, or left before all of that. But
yeah, you guys might have been kicked out of the SSD. So.
We would have ended our stories early for a totally different reason, not getting stuck in an endless loop of circus tents. We just would not have been qualified. Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel like... Well, Dave, how was this chapter for you as the keeper?
Pretty much my only thought was... there's got to be a way for these characters to know about certain things. So we know Theodore's going to show up. He kind of randomly shows up, but he had a bigger role, mainly because it didn't... You guys could have ignored him and went down in there if you wanted to, but with the way you guys were acting,
right?
it's at once it got to where we were, I was like, no, you guys can go down there if you want, but this whole time you would not go down the steps. So it's like, I think Theodore's just going to be like, no, yeah, you aren't ready. Which,
Interesting.
But you guys, if you wanted to, you totally could have gone down.
Yeah.
But pretty much, besides of trying to find out whether you found it or didn't find it, information for the story that may have been lacking just due to being locked in Centralia. A lot of this stuff was just what freaks me out that I can go and put it on them. And that's pretty much what birthed these creatures.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
And my first gut instinct when kind of seeing the initial behavior of them is weeping angels. Or
Yeah.
Which funny, it was not even what crossed my mind. But
I mean, you got them so close in some ways.
oh, yeah, the behavior is very similar to both the weeping angels. The other one that also just occurred to mind tonight with the more discussion of Doctor Who was the mannequins. Was another one that had very similar behavior. Although
the mannequins were so
in a way,
creepy.
Oh yeah, for sure. In a way, I think these almost fit more with the mannequins than the weeping angels specifically.
Did the mannequins move when you looked at them? I thought they just moved eventually.
I don't remember for sure. It's been a long time since I watched that episode.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is the mannequins and the weeping angels essentially like smushed together,
Yeah, it's
which is
almost
terrifying.
Yeah, almost no movement is if you're watching them, but potentially extremely fast when you're not.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
was neither one of my inspiration. When you guys said weeping angels, I was like, oh yeah, I guess it's kind of how they're behaving.
Yeah.
But now visually, at the time when I was writing this up, I started coming across a whole lot of Uncanny Valley stuff.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I saw some bad ones, and then I saw some really good ones, and it always just so happened to show up at 1:30 in the morning. And so
That's
to
a rough
where
time.
I'm just like, well, if my brain's gonna do it to me, might as well just force everyone else to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make us all suffer with you.
Yeah,
And I
then
wasn't ever thinking about them in terms of looking like the weeping angels, just the behavior.
Yes.
Was
Yeah.
really what I was.
Yeah.
The only thing I was thinking
Yeah.
of that way.
And I was trying to think of what would have been the creepiest way for them to move, because like, yeah, I could have them just slowly move like humans, but I was just like, what if they're just there as soon when you look?
Yeah.
So there will be chances, which you guys definitely were playing smart, but then with a little piece of information of child's walking on the wall, and then no one looking towards the entrance was the giant hole in the building was like, well,
Yeah.
bada bing, bada boom, and then you guys saw what they really could do.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know David at least was expecting more to show up kind of in weird ways, especially after seeing the kid, but it's not like he can watch everything either. And at that point, he was also still trying to figure out, okay, how dangerous are these things? Do they actually mean us harm, or are they just there? Will they revert to what we think they were before as like the drawings on the wall or whatever? But
Yeah.
so, at that point, it was still very much the, okay, how do these things work? What do they do? Do they mean us harm, or can we interact with them somehow? And
Yeah,
You
I think
interacted
it's
with
safe
them.
to say that most things in Dave's world mean us some version of harm, which is why it's so hard to
Of
trust that
course.
Theodore is friendly.
Not all
Really?
things. Timmy doesn't cause harm.
Timmy
To
just
the
didn't want some
players.
apples.
Unintentionally.
to the
I was
players.
gonna say, maybe not intentionally.
Sheriff Hudson didn't cause harm. Just caused an unhealthy dependence on NPCs by the players.
You just created such an overpowered NPC that how can we not use her?
I don't think
exactly.
she
It's
really did anything to actually help. She just
She had information and experience that no one else did, or at least that's what it felt like.
And it's like, okay, we have this NPC here. We're gonna make use of it. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
how else are we gonna find this information that we need?
Yeah. Yep. Don't knock it.
by
And-
drug trade.
And also the other aspect to that with Sheriff Hudson to me is also, okay, law enforcement. We don't want to be doing things that are against law enforcement or would be kind of their wheelhouse without them at least knowing that we're doing these things, because that ends up putting us in jail.
It'd be really funny if season 2 was just you guys playing deputies in Centralia while your characters are running around doing everything else.
That would be very funny. Yeah.
What are they doing now? Why? We told
Yeah.
them to go not do this. Go away. Go
Like-
home, kids.
Let us do our jobs.
Okay, let them go do that. Okay, now are we gonna go shoot the demon in the woods yet? Yeah, we better go do that. Yeah, that
like
might
it.
be a big problem later.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I feel like in a lot of ways, to me, this was like a fairly like straightforward in a fun way. Like there were clearly like choices that we could have made that would have like significantly altered how we played the game. But I also feel like there were a lot of clear choices, even if they were scary or unwanted choices, they were still pretty clear in terms of like, you know, what we could or even should do. I don't know. I really enjoyed this one. This chapter was fun.
Yeah, the other purpose, or the other goal I had was that we could really, and I guess quickly learn who these characters are. And even though we didn't get the 30-page backstory,
Yeah.
we got a little bit of stuff in the beginning, but I think the more important thing is that we saw how they deal with stress, how they deal with each other,
Yeah.
how just their knee-jerk reactions,
Yeah.
and how fragile their sanity is. Specifically for one.
Well, he needs to pull it together because this is our job now.
In chapter
David's looking at these twins like, boy, these two are all over the place.
in chapter 6, it's gonna be Deli coming in with David and just be, hey, I brought in my other twin. What? That's
Wait,
not how
that's
twins. No,
No,
it's
that's-
my
yeah, that's not
other
how that
twin.
Wait, so you have an evil twin? What?
No, the other twin. August, the other twin. And then we make David roll sanity.
Yeah. That'll be the thing that
And
breaks
that's what
him.
goes him insane.
Nothing else.
And
Yeah.
then we find out that David's actually Theodore the whole time.
What?
You weren't supposed to tell.
Well, I had to tell you eventually. I figure if I throw out enough false references, and if I ever do slip the real one, you'll never know.
That is true. That's a great way to keep us on our toes, I think.
Don't worry, I'm tracking all of this information. I'm gonna keep you on your toes.
Not if you keep killing your characters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, no. I don't know that I have any other like really big questions for this one. It was fun.
Yeah.
I really liked this chapter.
No.
It's definitely interesting balancing the player knowledge versus the character knowledge too.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't have to worry about that.
I feel like Nite, that actually was hard for your character even more so than mine. Right? Like you watching you kind of figure out or like try to navigate like what is it that you actually know, because you have this history. You know, that is kind of challenging for sure.
Yeah, and just kind of having a decent idea of how deep he would have gotten stories beyond the stuff that he directly experienced as well.
Yeah,
because there definitely was some of it that was some, but not everything, that would have been told throughout the process of time between when he was the events of last chapter and now.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, I imagine like based on knowing Cora and Caleb and how protective they were of their stories and of their families, like I think that there would be a line that they both would not cross in like sharing that information with their kids, you know? I think that's how we played them for all of those chapters.
Sure. And I think the only reason why David would have gotten anything out of Caleb would be just basically having seen the bull or the demon creature, whatever it was, and basically convincing Rose, convincing Mom that, look, Dad got hurt bad, and I'm going to find out how to help protect, and I know he's been protecting the family. I'm going to take that mantle from him, and that's the only way he would have gotten anything, is first got to convince Mom, because Mom's not going to let anything go by from Dad either.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why Caleb has, or why David has the pin rune in the first place, is because that one actually came from Caleb.
I know. You got lucky and got a second one. Yeah.
No, a third.
Or a third
You guys
one.
should all have two.
Yep, I have two.
Is it lucky? It just means he gets to drain his sanity faster.
Potentially.
Yeah, Dave just wants to see us all go crazy.
Well, I guess in closing, unless there's any other dire questions,
I don't think so.
You guys want to hear the date of the next game? Or the
Always.
Next chapter? It takes place on April 24th, 1984.
1984. How many years is that? What were we in? 70-something?
72. So 12 years.
So 12 years.
Now,
Okay.
I will say this now. I would tell you guys this later in the things. I think it might not all be together, but I think that you guys, these characters, if they decide to stay with the SSD, would have done other missions.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would think so, yeah.
Doesn't always mean they had to be together. We can talk about that. Because, well, for recording time, we got a little bit of time before we do the next recording session. Because for when this comes out, it's the end of January. For us, it's like 2 weeks before Christmas. So, my favorite thing to do.
Break.
But now we can figure that out and just see what that looks like and what effect that may or may not have on your characters.
Okay. Interesting.
So, but yeah, that is what's going to happen. I do have a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any guesses or any thoughts of who the person in the epilogue was besides the mass?
Oh, Matthias.
Are you sure?
I mean, that's the voice you did.
That's the only southern voice we know.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
And that would be my guess. Matthias, and then the giant, I can't remember what his name is. But didn't he have dark skin?
I mean, Uncle Buster was directly mentioned in the epilogue as well.
Yeah, I know, that's what he said. He said other than Uncle Buster.
Well, What
But
if it
I mean,
was
let's be
Percy?
honest, is Uncle Buster now a
Percy.
giant blob, or was he always a giant blob?
Or maybe Percy just gained the power of Southern.
Is
the
Percy
other-
Matthias Trilburn the whole time?
That would be another Buck Wild thing that would have happened, as he's literally trying to kill you in chapter 3.
I'm thinking the escort for Uncle Buster must be the big clown.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, not for Uncle Buster, for Matthias. Because the big...
I thought he was escorting the Uncle Buster down the stairs.
No. Uncle Buster's the blob. Matthias was with the big... Right? Because, like,
The
Matthias,
beefy
the
dude.
old man, Matthias, who I'm calling Matthias, the old man walked down, read the papers, then walked to the blob and talked to the blob and called the blob Buster.
Yeah. You're like, hey there, Buster, how you doing? That
Yeah.
was his voice.
That was not his voice.
Yeah, and this is my voice now.
That's the voice that you're giving him, but no.
This is the voice now, you know. Just,
Just
like
start
you're,
grunting now.
Sounds like you're talking through one of those talk boxes for people who smoke too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, so my theory is Uncle Buster is a breathing blob, and Matthias and
That's
Billy?
That
that a
was a
thing?
name that was used, Brother Billy.
Brother Billy?
Brother Billy.
I think that was the big guy. I'd have to dig through my notes, though.
I could just tell you.
Yeah, are you going to?
No.
Yeah.
Because it's the end of the episode. So next time we will find out what is happening in Chapter 6, April 24th, 1984. I don't know what day that actually is.
4
Four.
years old.
No, baby.
So maybe John will show up.
Crossover.
Yeah.
That would be a weird crossover. John just starts playing himself as a 4-year-old.
I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
That means we're the same age.
Yep.
Oh, that's a Tuesday.
Random Tuesday.
So, but
Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
it's the end of January.
Oh, yeah.
Happy,
We already did New
Happy
Year.
February.
Well,
happy. I
hopefully
hope-
you've kept your resolutions for
Yeah.
a month.
Hopefully you kept your resolutions for a month. Hopefully you won't be alone and sad and by yourself in about 2 weeks for Valentine's Day. And if you are, from the Sanity Lost crew, we all laugh at you. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time for
Wow.
Chapter 6.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.